How's it going, people? Salmon Slabber here, and this is the quest guide for the Prisoner of Glouphrie. So, let's get started, shall we? Quest requirements. So, to start this quest, you need to have done Roving Elves and the Path of Glouphrie. Item-wise, you don't actually need anything at all for this quest. And to start the quest itself, you want to head over to Gnome Village, and just south of the centre you'll find this little hole here you can climb down, and that is where you started by talking to Glouphrie. So let's get started. Jump straight down the hole and head to the western passage, and at the end of it you will find Glouphrie. Go ahead and talk to him. He'll give you a couple of choices. Choose to look at the letter. You can then quickly read through or just straight up close it, either way. He'll then carry on talking to you. Then you can accept the quest. Go ahead and do that. And ask about Gina, option 2. And ask what you should do next, option 3. So as soon as you do that, you are then given a little cutscene, and you'll be inside Gnome Village. Quickly jump through all of the text, and eventually you'll regain control. As soon as you do, head to the southwest corner and squeeze through the bars, and right in front of you you'll find a little gnome called Elkoi. Go ahead, right click and travel, and he'll take you outside. Finally, once you're out here, you now want to head directly north until you hit a bridge. This will take you over to the battlefield of Guarana. Soon as you cross the bridge, head directly west and slightly to the south. We're going just behind Arania Temple and just north of the observatory. So as soon as you hit this little muddy bit, kind of circle around it, and it'll take you just to the north side of the observatory, and here you will find a gnome. This gnome is Guarana, and this is the fellow, well, bird we need to talk to. So go ahead and talk to her, tell her let's go, and you'll be thrown into a separate instance. As soon as you gain control, head towards your north or northwest, and at the end of this path you will find a massive dead tree. Go ahead and climb into that. So, once you regain control, you now appear inside a cave. First thing you want to do is circle the camera around so you can see to your south, and you'll find a little ledge you can investigate. Go ahead and do that, and the gnome will jump across the chasm for you, and eventually throw you a rope. Throughout the entirety of this quest, if you happen to get disconnected, it seems you have to restart from literally by here, so if you can help it, don't log out and don't disconnect. But anyway, as soon as she throws the rope across, go ahead and follow her. As soon as you regain control then, you want to head almost directly towards your south. And eventually, you'll come to a jump you can make. Go ahead and jump across the small gaps. You'll have to wait a second for the gnome to follow. Make sure you keep the gnome close to you, as if she gets out of eyesight of you, she'll teleport straight to the beginning of this cave. There's also a part later on where you have another gnome following you. Same thing applies to that. Once you're across this chasm, go ahead and carry on down the path. This time you want to head to the northwest-ish. And you'll notice there's an agility symbol on your mini-map. Go ahead and cross these stepping stones. Eventually, when you get to the end, you'll start talking to yourself. and the gnome will tell you to come back, so go ahead and backtrack back onto land and talk to the gnome again. So once you're back across, in the very southeast side of this room you'll find a small crevice that you can investigate. Go ahead and click that. As soon as you do, the gnome will run through the crevice and disappear. As soon as you regain control, jump back across the stepping stones, and you will have a little cutscene and she'll appear on the other side. She'll push the final stepping stone into place for you, so now we can cross. Carry on across the water. Finally, once you're across, same as before, it's a one-way path. Follow it around to the north and it'll circle back around towards the south. Make sure the gnome doesn't get trapped behind walls like she did for me, as if you get too far out of her sight, as I said before, she will teleport and you'll have to redo this entire section again. It's not really worth the hassle. So follow this pathway around, making sure you don't lose her behind all the rocks. And eventually you'll come towards a dead end, and there will be an entranceway on the western side of the cavern. Right by here. This thing right there. Go ahead and climb through the crevice, and you'll appear in the Elflands. So, now that you're outside, you want to head towards your west and follow the pathway round until eventually you come across a large dead tree you can investigate. This one right by here. Go ahead and investigate it. As soon as you do, the gnome will pass you a rope and you'll throw a shortcut down to the Elflands. So as soon as you appear, you have a little cutscene and you'll be talking to Elfina, or Elfine, and she will take you to a hidden trapdoor on the northwest side of Ledia. So you'll enter the now found basement, and this is the puzzle of this quest. Right next to you there's a book on a box. Go ahead and pick that up and read through it completely. You don't actually have to read it, just skip through the pages if you want. Either way, hopefully I can make this puzzle nice and straightforward for you. So finally, once you've read through the entire book, we now need to collect everything in this room. You now have to search literally every single thing in this room to find all of the items. The places to search include all the crates, the lamps, paintings, and all the shelves. The easiest way to do it is go around in a clockwise manner, and hopefully you'll have everything by the time you get to the crafting table, and then you can start on the puzzle. So this puzzle, it'll give you 3 different colours, and there'll be 3 numbers right next to it. This will be different for everybody, the total number, so you won't necessarily have the same thing as me. There's a few ways to work it out. I'll chuck up a bunch of images on the screen now to show you the values of everything you need to know, but I'll also put a link in the description which I highly recommend going to, as they've got a little calculator on there which you can use, and it'll tell you exactly which pieces you need for each section of the machine. And to be honest, it'll save you a hell of a lot of time. Basically, do that is my recommendation. If however you like to work out the puzzle yourself, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll chuck up the values of the bulb percentage and how to make the colours. But I do highly recommend checking out that little calculator. Go ahead and build the crate once you've collected every item in the room, and this is the puzzle. So for me, I've got 18 cyan, 15 magenta, and 25 yellow. I need to make up those values. Yours may very well be very different to me, but the way to work it out is, for the cyan colour, it needs to be equal parts green and equal parts blue. So it needs to be green-blue and a combination of those two in any number of form to reach the final total. For the magenta, it needs to either be equal parts red and blue, or 3 parts red to 4 parts indigo, or, alternatively, 1 part red to 2 parts violet. What you're seeing me activate here, the center piece is going to change the color of the bowl for you. That'll determine the color of the gem you're going to make. You can right click on the bowl and you can fill it with water, or you can empty it of water. Depending on how much water is in there, gives you a different shape of the colored gem you're looking for. If there's no water in, it's a circle. If there's 20%, it's almond. If there's 40%, it's triangle. If there's 60%, it's a square. If it's 80%, it's a pentagon. And if it's full, it's a hexagon. That is pretty much everything you need to know about how to do this puzzle. If you haven't done it yet, I would recommend checking out the calculator on the RS wiki, as it is incredibly handy and will save you quite a bit of looking and messing about, and makes this quest very, very fast. But I'll leave the values of the different gems on screen, and I'll leave it to play through normal speed, and I'll catch you when this puzzle is finally finished. So, when it comes to actually entering your gems into the computer, you first want to click on which gem you need, then click on the top left slot, and that'll chuck it into the left hand side of the cyan. Click on the gem, click on the slot, rinse and repeat, and enter the correct gems, and you should get a sound effect if you've done it correctly, and a tick should appear at the end. So, time to check if you're right. If you followed the calculator on the RuneScape wiki, then you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. Go ahead and click the tick. If you're correct, then it'll close down and you'll make something and talk to the gnome automatically. As soon as you've done that, talk to her again just to make sure it's gone through, and then head up the ladder. So from here you want to head towards the bank, which is in the southeast side of Letia. Just outside the bank you will find the elf we met at the beginning, Ilfine. Go ahead and talk to her. Oh, Guarana, sorry. The gnome. Tell her you're ready and go. You'll appear back on the mountainside with the gnome. Head back towards the dead tree you came from, and on your way there, she'll mention that there's a vent in the side of the mountain. Just to the south of you, you may need to switch your camera around. You'll see this vent here. Go ahead and click on it. She'll then pass you a rope, and you'll end up climbing down. So go ahead and climb down. You'll be given a little cutscene, and you'll see the Glouphrie is setting up an invisible gnome army. Good times. Quickly run through all of the chat, and eventually you'll regain control inside some sort of dungeon. So, straight away what you want to do is head up the stairs directly in front of you. And you'll be treated to another cutscene, and there'll be turtles mining through walls for some reason or other. Now at this point, before you start running anywhere, you want to turn your camera so it's facing directly down towards the east. The reason for this is there's kind of like camera systems. You want to run in a directly straight line up until you see the camera and then run to the right hand side, which is to the south. As soon as you've done that, rotate the camera into the wall and you're now safe. So head on into the prison directly opposite the camera, and there'll be a terror bird inside. Go ahead and talk to him. Tell him you're Glouphrie. Then he'll ask you if you're a human or if you're just tall. It doesn't matter which of those two options you pick. Eventually the terror bird will walk off, and we can now check out the prison. So picklock the last one on the end and free the gnome. So go ahead and talk to this new gnome. Eventually he'll start asking questions. So when he asks this question here, go ahead and say Ilfine. The second question is Gina. The third question is 42. And the final question is the Grand Tree. As soon as you do that, he'll agree to follow you. At which point you want to head back outside towards where we just rotated that camera. And this time you want to change your camera angle facing to the west to make sure you run in a straight line, as there is another camera right next to the stairs. Now you do have to walk to wait up for this gnome, as he's pretty old and decrepit. Instead of heading down the stairs, head around the west side of it. And as soon as you do, you'll have a little chat, and this old gnome will hide in the corner. Yeah, in the corner. One-man army, I swear to God. Carry on through, go through the door, and you'll have a little cutscene. You'll find Guarana is, for whatever reason, spying on terror birds. And basically you'll find out that the terror birds are experimenting on behalf of Glouphrie. So eventually the alarm will sound and all three of you will run it, and you'll magically appear outside. Ja-jang! So as soon as you regain control, head to the opposite side of the massive boulder opposite you and push it. This will push the boulder into the vent and stop the terror birds from following you. So, as soon as you've done that, go ahead and talk to Guarana, and you'll have a massive epic cutscene. And this is pretty much the end of the quest, so congratulations. Eventually, you'll regain control, at which point all you need to do is talk to Guarana once more, and congratulations, that is quest complete. 'Tis all there is to this quest. Quite a quick one, gotta be honest. So all you need to do now is quickly skip through all the text, and eventually you will find yourself in Gnome Village. So, at the very end of that cutscene, that is quest complete officially. Yeah, game on. So, for completing this quest, you gain 1 quest point, 60,000 thieving experience, 60,000 agility XP, 50,000 construction XP, 45,000 runecrafting XP, access to a new glider just outside the Gnome Village, 2 spins on the Squeal of Fortune. You can now store your spirit tree seeds with Guarana inside Gnome Village. You now have the ability to plant up to 2 spirit trees at any given time with 86 farming. Boosts can be used. You now have access to Letia via the passageway through the mountains. And you also have easier access to Crystal Seed Enchantment. Ilfine can be found wandering Letia shortly after starting this quest. So yeah, there we go. Quite a lot of decent stuff. And that's it, people. So I hope you enjoyed the guide. Hope you find it useful. If you did, leave us a comment and a like. And I will catch you all later. Have a good one.